All right, you're looking at a daily chart of AMD. Welcome to my daily review. They were selling pretty much everything today, retail and oil and utilities and all sorts of, even the material stocks were being sold, and they're buying the semiconductor stocks. And I'm going to get to some of that other stuff later. Definitely the drugs and the biotechs were being sold as well. But they're buying these semiconductor stocks, and AMD was definitely the beneficiary. We had this on our watch list recently for a couple of different reasons. One was this old buy point here, which coincided with this downtrend line, which it broke from the 102 here. So right in this area here, it broke out, was a buy point, and I kind of let it go for a little bit, and I'm going to put it back on today because now it's made this cup-shaped pattern of 8 weeks of consolidation with the a standard buy point here. I would like to see it kind of handle out a little bit, just kind of chill out for a few days, get back below that 100 level. It's 6.6% above the 10, so allow that 10 to catch up and get it a little closer to the 10, but you can't always get what you want, as Mick Jagger saying, we get what we need. And so AMD is going to do what it wants. I mean, it could go up to 110 tomorrow. Who knows? The semiconductors are certainly strong. One of our leading stocks, I think we had 5 of 22 leading stocks make new highs today. So that's good. Good ratio here, and you can see that this is a definite character change in 2022 right here in January. Boom, straight up for NVIDIA. This has been a big winner in 2023. So 2022 is all about the oil and gas stocks, and the growth took a back seat. Now this year, there's been people want to say all the mega cap tech, but there's a lot more than that are doing well. And I try to explain that here every day, but NVIDIA is certainly one beneficiary. And some people ask me, like, let's take a look at the weekly here. Yeah, you can see it's still got a long way to go to make an all-time high, but the stock has been strong. And you saw AMD where it's near a buy point. Well, how do you buy this stock? Well, every now and again, it pulls back to a moving average, like it did here, and like it did here to the 21. Like it did here to the 21, and it got below the 21 here and back to the 21, and now it's quite a bit above it. So it's a little bit riskier to buy. It's 4% above the 21, so let it come back to the 21. That 21's climbing every day, right? 278, 279, 280. That's going up a buck a day. So I would just I bought AMD because it was more of a safer bet for me, but obviously NVIDIA is the leader. And I would buy, they have earnings coming up May 21st and May 24th. And I would buy this if it did pull back to the 21. This, just wants to lead. And we're going to follow that trend until it bends at the end. Why not, right? That's what we do. Another semiconductor stock. I'm going to spend some time on semiconductors today because it was one of the few bright spots. This is ACLS, and this is a stock that we had earlier and talked about it a lot. But this thing undercut its 50 and now has rallied back above, and I would not wait. In fact, I would say right about in here, about 132. Yeah, if I can get above there, I don't know. It looks like it's going to head right back to this old high of 136.38. Earnings are done, so you don't have to worry about that. They're out of the way. That stock looks pretty good to me. Lam Research is another one. This will be on our watch list here. This has formed a nice little base. It's like AMD though. It's 4.8% above its 10, so it needs time for the moving averages to catch up. And a couple sideways days or some pullback days will be really healthy for some of these stocks. RMBS is another one that we've had on our watch list, and this is just consolidating a little base. You'd see it kind of does this little flat base here, rises up, forms this little base here, about 8 weeks, and this one again is 8.2% above the 21, 6.3 above the 10. So again, it can afford to allow the moving averages to catch up and just pull back a couple of days. Broadcom is another one. that we have on our list here. This thing's just consolidated in a flat base. This one looks pretty good as well. And that one's a lot closer to the 10 EMA than those other ones that I showed you. Anyway, a lot going on in the semiconductors. They were big leaders in the first quarter. They took a little time out, and now they're running again. I want to go to the home builder stocks because they're showing a lot of strength too. And I've talked about DHI a lot. We had this on our watch list here for obvious reasons, and then it broke out. But once it broke out, it just kind of traded, in this little shelf-like pattern here. And I've been talking about this. I was expecting this to move, and yeah, it was only up, nearly 2% today, but it's breaking higher and making new highs there. So we like stocks that make new highs. So congrats to the longs from DHI or DR Horton. Here's a Lennar. This one, another one, just broke out of a base, not looking back, but it pulled back to its 21 today and bounced, which is action that I like. Finding support at moving averages. These pullbacks is what these little pullbacks here to moving averages. Those can be taken advantage of in just short little trading time frames. PHM Pulte Homes. This one's just trending nice. That's just wanted to show this is a trend trader's dream. If you get into this one, just ride it and ride that trend till it bends at the end. And Builder made another new high today. One of our leading stocks, one of our 5 of 22 that made new highs. So that's pretty darn good in this tape because it's pretty narrow leadership here. And Builder First Source just broke out after earnings and just continues to make new highs. That thing just went, like vertical on us. Really surprised at that. Okay, I want to talk about the retail stocks because Home Depot just killed the drill today. Their earnings report was brutal. It gapped down last earnings report right here on, I forget the date. It was February something. February 21st, gap down hard, nearly 8%. Today, another gap down. You don't want these gappers. This is only 2%. But, obviously the, the historic rate of interest rate hikes has probably something to do with, the slowing consumer, and also in the goods areas, the services are doing better than the goods. And, after COVID, maybe people aren't working on their home as much and they'd rather take a vacation. But that's, I don't know. Home Depot should be doing better than this. Anyway, when a company like this big, market cap of nearly 300 billion, tanks like, it did and showed such a weak earnings report, it's going to affect all of retail. And it certainly did. We saw LULU, which is not in the same space, but this thing sliced its 21 today, and it's been selling off. I know some people who have it and are really concerned about it, and it's sold off like 7 days or 8 days in a row, and sliced its 21 today. So that's not good. Home Depot, Lululemon. Oh yes, the shoe company. We're talking about this. This company is trading 10 times sales like a software company. I rarely see shoe companies trade with this kind of valuation. But as long as it has this growth, it had 80% growth. And that they're reporting real strong sales. So growth stocks are valued on growth, and it's growing, but pulled back to the 50 simple moving average today. So we'll see if it finds support here. I kind of think it will around that 30 area. It's not doing anything wrong. They're executing, they're growing, and they still have a couple more quarters of fairly simple comps, and then it's going to start getting tougher. Actually, yeah, they have I'd say 2 more quarters of easy comps, and then it's going to get really a lot more challenging for them to grow so quickly. And the last one I want to look at is COCO. I think this is the first time I've talked about this. I use this in my protein drinks, and I like it, and it's hydrating, and I like the stock. I mean, who doesn't like that lower left to upper right, making new highs every day? So that's one real retail stock that bucked the trend today. Anyway, I mentioned earlier about the drug stocks. AMGN, Horizon deal, the regulators are getting, involved here, and you don't want anything to do with this at all. When the government gets involved and politics are involved, you just stay away. And you can see this stock was down. And I think AMGN probably wants out of this deal. They're paying way too much for Horizon. But you know, because there's just too much uncertainty, nobody knows the result. And here's Horizon, and this is why I tell you, if you get, you know, a buyout, you just get out of the stock. You know, some people wait around like there's going to be higher bidders. We just get out because this can happen, and the deal falls through, and then you're down what 15% in a day. You know, you wake up, you're down, and that's quite a shock. So for me, when you know, I own a stock and it gaps up on a buyout, I just get out of there. I don't want anything to do with any M&A. There's too much uncertainty. So if you sold here, congrats to the longs. If you held on, you know, shame on you. You know, you should know better, and that's a lesson to learn. But like I say, you know, $28 billion deal and the regulators involved, I don't want anything to do with that. And it dragged down the entire biotech and drug sector today. Novo Nordisk just pulled back to the 21. This is a really strong stock. That's probably a opportunity, you know, if you're, you know, like me, I want to own something like this. Yeah, that looks good to me. But Eli Lilly bucked the trend today, and this one is kind of like forming a shelf, like we saw earlier with the home builder stock DHI. And I'd like to see this thing come back to its 10 and bounce here. This thing was up despite the regulators regulating. And VKTX Viking had positive data from their phase 2 NASH trial, and this company has 2 drugs that they can bring to FDA next year, and they're in real strong powerhouse groups. One is obesity, weight loss. Was the other one cancer, which is, you know, big. So this, I don't think it's done. I mean, this is the nice bullish engulfing candle. It sold off down to the 21, then pop. That's what you want to see on a bounce. That's a bounce, folks. It's 12% higher on the day. And like I say, a bullish engulfing candle. If, you know, longer term, if they take those 2 drugs to market, and they have like 4 more drugs, this is going to be a powerhouse company, probably bought out before too long. This is another one that I talked about earlier on the site. Don't rush in like yesterday. It made a new high, then pulled back, but it's just forming a shelf too, allowing the moving averages to catch up. This was not phased by the regulatory news, and you got to pay attention to that when everything else is down and this thing just holding its ground. That's showing relative strength. Anyway, enough of the drugs. Hopefully it'll be better, you know, later in the week or next week when the regulators kind of pipe down. I just want to take a look at a couple of stocks. I mentioned the shelf. I was going to put this on our watch list because it gapped higher and formed this little shelf, almost pulled back to the 10, and today ramped nearly 6%. This is one of our leading stocks making new highs today, and that's SMCI. And another one was HubSpot. Ever since this thing gapped up on earnings, this is just ramping higher and showing strength. I mean, it's been up every day for like, 6 days in a row. Is down one of the last 9 or 10 days. So HubSpot definitely showing strength. Anyway, that's it for today, and we never give up.